So my name is Karen Ho. I'm a MA student in the Business and Economics concentration at the Columbia Graduate School of Journalism. And I am very fortunate to be the Lorna Sullivan Memorial Fellow, one of the 2 this year, which means I won a full scholarship, including expenses. I basically tell people that someone from Columbia became my champion at a journalism conference. I was working in northern Canada in a tiny town of 20,000 people, covering the diamond mines and aviation at the time. And I had flown down to San Francisco for a conference. I was really lucky. I had written a story in a big magazine in Canada called Toronto Life about a murder, about a woman I'd gone to high school with who was convicted of first degree for trying to murder her parents. And she was a year older than me, and her boyfriend had actually come to my house every day for a school year, like when we were both in high school. And so I'd written a story about that, maybe 3 weeks after the story had come out and had gotten 1 million hits. And so I came to this journalism conference. It was the Asian American Journalism Foundation in San Francisco, where Columbia had a recruiting table at the job fair. And I was really, really lucky because I would say 30 to 35% of the delegates and a lot of the speakers had read the story or seen it. It was even picked up by the Washington Post and the New York Times. And it was the #1 story in the Washington Post, just about the reaction online for like 5 days. A dean from admissions and financial aid, I just gave her a print copy of the story. And it was very clear I had memorized the website for the program. In one of those moments when you're like, what am I gonna do with my life? Maybe I'm gonna go to grad school. And I wasn't planning to apply to the school for another maybe 2 years. I was planning to get some experience. So I gave her the story at lunch, and then that night they were hosting a Columbia-sponsored mixer, and she had read the story. And she was like, Karen, we have to talk. There's a really fun story about what happens involving CBS flying me down to New York to talk to me about the story less than a month later, and then a lot of really great alumni who happened to come to Yellowknife, the tiny town in subarctic Canada, to talk to me about the program and talk about the experience, and even parents of alumni. They're all like, you should apply. You'll do great. And then I applied. I got the acceptance letter. But it was a partial scholarship, so I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to sell all of my possessions. I'm gonna have to sign up for medical trials. Like, I'm gonna do what it takes to get to the school. And then 4 days later, I got the best email of my entire life, which was, we have reevaluated your scholarship aid, and you have been awarded this memorial scholarship. It was better than winning the lottery. Just to not worry about struggling while I was here, because I had already struggled for about 5 years. I was actually, before I had gone to Northern Canada, I was planning to quit journalism completely. My mom was like, you've been struggling for a long time. Are you sure you want to keep doing this? I was like, if I don't make inroads in my career, if I turn 30 and I haven't made any progress, then I'll quit and go back to PR. And I turned 30 in 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks. I consider Christine Souders to be my champion. I talked to her about my thesis, I talked to her about life stuff, and then I also try to help other students. And I try to, pay it forward as much as I can. When I got the scholarship letter, I actually bought her $100 worth of flowers. I sent it to her office. I yelped, what is a nice flower shop near campus? She's been at the school for a long time, and I found out later no one had done that for her before, and they've awarded that scholarship for 10 years or longer. And I just thought it was like the smallest gesture I could do, just to be like, thank you for changing my life, thank you for pulling me out. I had really terrible grades in undergrad, and she's like, no, you'll be fine. And I was like, I have no money. She's like, we're just make sure you apply. She was one of the first people that made me believe about what was possible beyond my life at that point, because I had worked with so many really awful, stressful people who just either underestimated me or made me feel like I was never going to get beyond a production assistant kind of job. And so I try not to take that for granted at all. And I think about that almost every day.